Alright, we're looking at Acts chapter 21 now. This is a very interesting chapter. Here we see Paul sort of heading back to Jerusalem, and Luke gives a very detailed account of how Paul went there through all these cities and all this stuff, which meant a lot to the people back then. I won't go into all the detail there because I don't really understand it all. But what is very interesting about this is when Paul gets back, he quickly realizes, and he already knew this, that Jerusalem was going to be a very hard place for him to go back to and talk about Jesus, because just like when Jesus showed up in Jerusalem, they weren't ready to hear that. So Paul, in a sense, is expecting to probably face death as he gets back into Jerusalem. And what's interesting, one of the reasons that they were worried about his death is when he first gets there, he's meeting with people that are his friends, and they're saying that rumors are being spread about him. One of the rumors was that he's been telling people to get rid of Moses' law, which he was not, and things like that. And so they say, to prove yourself that you haven't, they sort of have him do this ritual thing, which is kind of weird to us today, but just to let you know about this was in 24 through about 25 or so. He sort of sponsors this purification rite, and the point of that, like I said before, was he's basically trying to show that these things that he was saying about getting rid of Moses and all that were not true, and actually the things that he sponsored were something that wasn't even required by Jews or Gentiles. He was actually going above the call of duty, if you will, to sponsor these things. So that's a very interesting thing that Paul does. 7 days were required for purification, shaving their heads at the altar, the sacrifice of a sin offering and burnt offering, for each of the announcing the completion of the vow to the priest. So basically what I was saying, there's 7 days was sort of the time of the cleansing that Paul was sponsoring for these men. They were looking to do that thing. Now we see Paul gets arrested, and a big riot breaks out, and sort of towards the end of that riot, the Greek or Roman officials actually have to come, Roman troops actually come to his aid and save him from the hands of the Jews in the city, or the Jewish people that were opposed to him because of some of these rumors. And so at the end of 21 we start seeing Paul speaking to the crowd, and we'll pick up with that when we get to the next chapter.